The last time I was speaking, Wi-Fi is off, but I'm connecting through USB, which is still fairly okay. Okay. I lost my balance a little bit there. Let me drink some water. So for some reason, my Wi-Fi tethering all just went off. So I had to switch to another mode of connection to my internet. Our internet has been crazy these days. Okay, so it's asking me now what branch I want to connect to. And remember, I have an SDS branch, and that is the branch I will go ahead and select. So I'll select the SDS branch and then click on continue. Okay, so now it's now asking me what project templates do I want to use. Do I want to use a .NET desktop template or ASP.NET or all this, as you can see in that list? I know my project is ASP.NET Core, so that is what I will actually use. I'll go ahead and click on apply. So maybe what I'll also do is I'll try to configure pipelines for maybe a React application or an Angular application or maybe even a Python or a Java application. Okay, so it's ready to go now. So I'll just call this SDS web app GitHub. Wi-Fi I'm back on it. Not a problem so much. Okay, so I think I'm good to go. So what it will do is it will do a .NET restore task. It will build out the project. It will test. So if there's any test assembly on the project, just go ahead and test it. And then it will publish, it will do a .NET, so it will generate the artifact that I'm supposed to put on the server. And then it will publish this artifact to a temporary repository for me. One other thing I should be able to do is set trigger. So triggers enables me to be able to decide when and how I want to build my project. So I can decide to do it based on time. Maybe I want to build it out every 2 p.m. every day or 5 p.m. every Friday. I can decide that, and that is where this scheduled part is. Or I can decide to say every time there is a new code that is pushed on a particular branch or a set of branches, I want to build that out. I'm able to also do that, and I think that is what I prefer personally. So I'll just click on enable this, and I'll ask it to build out this branch, this SDS branch, and then I think I'm good. So anytime there's a push on SDS branch, it goes ahead to build this project. Let's save and queue that and see what actually happens for that process. So it's starting the run. Please note there may be a little bit of delay because cloud infrastructures globally are in sort of a mess. So that run is starting, and it's actually taking longer to actually start the run. Okay, it started now. And then you can see our last commit. So to pick the most recent commit for this project, and we can actually watch the progress by clicking on that build agent job. And because it's an ASP.NET Core application, it's cross-platform. That means I can decide to build it on a Linux host or on a Mac host. So it's actually done building now. Just waiting for that to show up. So it's done building. As we can see, there's one artifact that is the publishable bundle for the application. Just a moment, let me reconnect all the sources. Okay, so and you can see the test that has passed because I actually have a test in the project, even though it's just a dummy test. So you can see all that here. I can also decide to do code coverage, and also what happens is when the build completes, I get an email to tell me that this build has actually completed. So let me just log into my email service so you can see what that email looks like. Okay, so this is what the email looks like. Let me load external images so you can see the full view of it. And this is what it looks like. It will tell me if there are warnings, the total tests that I've run, which ones pass, which ones fails, and the commits that actually triggered the build. I can see all that details that will be pushed to me in my email automatically. Alright, so what I want to do next is maybe I want to push this out to a server. I want to say publish it on Azure or any sort of server. So this is what I'll do. I'll log into Azure and then I'll configure a web service that I want to push this to from inside Azure DevOps. So I'm just loading up Azure on a new page now. And also I can set to set up code coverage, but I'll skip that for the purpose of today. I think I'll walk through that a little bit next week or next 2 weeks. Okay, signing to Azure is taking a little bit of time. So let me sign in with this credential. Okay, so let me set up a web application right here inside Azure. And please note, you can do this across any sort of cloud, Azure, AWS, GCP. You just have to get your publishing profile or whatever credentials you need to connect to that service. So what I'll do, I'll create a new web application that runs on Linux, not even Windows. So let me go ahead and create that. So if you got questions, you can post them in the chat window. I will see them. So Azure is loading up, Azure is loading up, Azure is loading up. Wow, this is taking so much time. All right, so let me go ahead and add. Okay, I think this was the part that was actually taking the time, and I'm not totally sure why. Hmm. Okay, while I wait for that to happen, let me show you how I can configure this same build pipeline using YAML. All right, so let me go back to Azure DevOps and then go to my pipelines. I think I actually have to rename this pipeline. So I just click on this and rename this. Web app, GitHub, classic. All right, I'll name that classic. And then I'll set up a new pipeline that actually uses YAML. Let me check on Azure. Okay, so Azure is here. Let me just set that quickly up. I'll click on web app. Okay, some things are just friggin' slow. Okay, it set my resource group. So what I'll do is I will give this a name, say SDS demo. I want it to be a code. Really? SDS, don't worry. I have a name. So this name must actually be globally available. So I want this to run .NET Core 3.1, to run on Linux, yes. I want to host it in South Africa North. And it's asking me to create a new app service plan. I need to actually change this app service plan. So I'll just click on create new. Let me give it a name. SDS demo app SVC plan. In some other series, I will actually talk on Azure as a whole, but today is not about talking about Azure. So let me reconfigure this because this is gonna take a lot of money from me. So what I'll do now is okay, I'll use the dev test pricing and use B1. I think that's safe enough for me to use right now. And then I'll just create it. I wouldn't worry about the rest. I know it's on Linux. It's hosted in South Africa North. It's using the small basic plan. And I'll go ahead and create. So we'll just wait for that deployment to complete. So deployment complete. It's in progress. It has created the app service plan. Let me zoom a little bit more into that. Okay, it's done creating. And I'll just go to the website to show us how it looks. How that looks. Okay, so this is what the website is gonna look like. It will take a couple of seconds to start up. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So what I'll do next now is to okay, so I have my app service running. what I'll do next is to create a release. So I can see from here, if I click on here, I click on the build pipeline. Oh, sugar. Okay, let me just go to the releases tab over here and create a new release pipeline. Now I'm doing this the old way, but I could do it the the new and modern way. Which is YAML. I think I might touch on that next week because our time is going little by little. So I'll just click on app service deployment. I'll call this deploy. And then I'll complete the job and task requirement. So what I need to do now is set my Azure subscription. I need to refresh this. So I'll need to do a new connection to Azure. Oh, I think a little bit of problem I might have here is the account I'm using in this DevOps org is not connected here in Azure. So guess what I'll do? I will go ahead and give myself access because I'm signed in with a different credential here. So I'll give myself access to this Azure DevOps resource. So I'll just add a new role assignment here. I want to give myself contributor access. And then I want to add this dude. Save. And then I should be able to find an Azure subscription to use here. Okay, let me just refresh this page. It almost skipped my mind that I was not using the same sign-in. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and create a new pipeline and give it a name. We've been here before, so I'll just run through that. Aha! So I'm able to find that subscription here because I've added myself to be able to access it. Okay, so I need to authorize that I actually really have the right access to be able to connect to the repository and push code to it. Repository now means the web application. So I need to authorize myself. Oh, I need to go ahead and I need to change my access level totally. So no problem. I'll go to subscription level and change that up there. The error that it gave me was that I should have owner access right here, or user access administrator right here. Owner, this one, or user access administrator permission. So let me go ahead and change that. I think I might need to do this Azure crash course soon. Okay, so let me change the access here. So I'll just add myself as the owner. Oh, I'm using two separate accounts, that's why that is happening. So owner, the institute, save. Then I should be able to connect properly to it now. So why am I showing all this is to actually show us that even when you can view the subscription, you need the right level of access to be able to push code to your services, and that is what we saw happening there. So we'll filter this now to, we know our web app runs on Linux, even though we can select any of the options, but we know it runs on Linux, and then it will now filter to get all web apps that are actually running on Linux hosts. Let me refresh that. Aha! So this is my web application now, and then I'm actually really ready to go. So I'll call this SDS web app GitHub GUI release. Don't mind my naming convention, it's just so I can identify them. So I'll go ahead and save this with no comment. And then what I can do is I can create a new release manually here, but I think what I will do is I'll just push a little bit of code, and then we'll see that whole process run. So I think what I should do is okay, let me just change some things up in the view. Okay, so views index smooth dev Saturday. Okay. Not git start. I'm not a git start. So I'll just do a git commit. I'll call this added title to home page. Who really does this? So, but anyways, I'll do it, and I'll do a git push. Oh, sorry, git push origin SDS, because I have a separate branch. Oh, really? That's strange. That's it. Anyways, oh, finally got it. Okay, right now it should push the changes, and then my build process should start. Okay, code is pushed, and then we should see the build process kick off. You can see this is our last commit title, and it's building out now. Hi Sumet. Hi Michael. I'm trying to type it on hand, so pardon my spellings here. Okay, build process has been completed. And then what we will see that the release sugar, I missed something here. I did not complete this my release configuration. I messed something up a little bit there. So let me go ahead and actually edit this. I will just have to run through that over again. I did not set my artifact that was published from the build pipeline. Now this is some reason why I actually prefer YAML these days. I'm sort of losing track of how this stuff works in GUI. Okay. Okay, so I will go ahead now. So this is what I did. Let me just double back. I needed to add an artifact to my release pipeline so it will know where to pick the code for publishing. So I'll go ahead and add artifact, and then I will select the build pipeline I want to use for that. And then I always want to use the latest, and I can give it an alias if I so wish. So with that, I should be able to go. And what I should do is also, I need to set a trigger or not, depending on my preference. I will set this trigger. This trigger simply means I want to be able to do my publishing based on some conditions, either based on schedule or based on whenever there's a new code that is available in my artifact repository. So I'll enable this, and then you can see here, create a new release every time a build is available. So I'll set that, and then I can set my deployment conditions also for each of the stages in my releases, such that I can decide to either do this on schedule or both or whatever. So but let me disable the schedule part. Maybe in subsequent weeks we'll actually delve more into all that. So I just want to show us the simple process of getting our build up until release stage, and then we can call it a day for today, and next week we will delve a little bit deeper. And then okay, so what I'll do, let me just manually do this build so I don't go ahead changing code where it's not absolutely necessary. So I'll just go ahead and run this pipeline, and I will click on run. Okay, and that build process is ongoing now. Okay, build process is now complete. So we will also check now to see, because we've configured the what's it called, the release pipeline to connect to the build pipeline. We are able to see that this release will be triggered also by itself. We're just waiting for that to kick off. Let me close this. You can read that if it's up to you. Alright, so we can see that our publishing is now in progress, and this is the GUI, which is still of course super beautiful. Yeah, even though it's been a long time I've been in the GUI for managing pipelines, but it's still awesome and works really great. So it's now publishing our code, and we can see the number of tasks it has to complete before it goes on. If I click on that, I'm able to see it from the logs on how this actually happened, and we can see the process is completed. So if we go ahead to this web app and actually refresh, all things being equal, because sometimes these things mess up, I should be able to see my code running live. Boom, and you can see whatever happens now, I'm able to automatically, from code to release, now everything is tied together. So I can go back here, I can go back to my code and say this code, so I can this and say this code was automatically pushed from Azure DevOps let me just do a little bit of swag here, even though it's not totally required. I have the code in GitHub. Is it GitHub or capital H? Before people come and skin me alive, I connected it to Azure DevOps, and I can automatically pushed to Azure. Okay, so this is my commit message. So let me just commit that. Now don't mind my commit title now, and I'll just push this git push origin SDS. So once this code is pushed now, the build and release will actually happen automatically now, and we can see how seamless and smooth that process goes. Okay, code has been pushed, and I think I can successfully close this page actually, but let me see if there are any changes I actually made. Okay, so let me close this view now, and I will see that my build pipeline should have even almost completed, if not completed. Okay, it's still in progress. It is still in progress. Okay, build has completed, and then release also would have been triggered and maybe even almost completed. So I'll click on release 2. And then it's almost done. Almost done. Almost done. Can check on the progress by clicking on here. And then boom, it's completed, as you can see here. So if I go to my web application now and refresh this page, I should be able to see the changes reflect. So what I've been able to show us today in this episode is how we can take our code from any repository source. In this case, I'm using GitHub, connect it to Azure DevOps to automate the build and release, maybe we'll do some test and test coverage. So what I'll do next is actually use YAML, because it's sweeter for me, and then push to Azure, and we can even see how we can publish to separate environments, and we'll see the beauty of all that next week. So I've been able to connect from my code to my publishing. So most times now you don't have to wait a long time in Visual Studio, right click publish, or having to push your code to any server. And note, this works just beyond an ASP.NET Core application. So you can say configure this to hold on. You can configure this pipeline for React.js applications, Angular applications, any node-based applications, Python, PHP, Java. What other programming language do you use to write? So you can configure basically any language, but I'm using a web application in this case because it's faster to show and tell, and because I write C#, that is why I'm using C# as a language. But of course, you can use any programming language that you have and love. Okay, so that is that for today. So if I go actually back to my overview page, you see overview I'm supposed to go to. Yes, my overview page. I should be able to see the progress. You remember from last week, even when we started today, this was not there. So you can also see the progress of your build and releases. And that's one reason why people still stick with the GUI, because if you're using the code-based template, that's the YAML for your build and release spec, you can only see the build success here. It won't show deployment success. Maybe that's supposed to be fixed in the future or something. We'll get, I don't know. So that is it for today. I hope I've been able to share some sort of knowledge with you on using Azure DevOps. Next week we'll continue. So I'll do the YAML spec for building, and then also I should be able to touch a little bit on, maybe I can configure a simple React application to build it and release. Also do code coverage, how you do code coverage in Azure DevOps. Also maybe next week, I'm not sure time will permit us to be able to touch on managing branch policies and protecting your master branch, branching strategies and all that in Azure DevOps. So guys, thanks for joining again this week. I will see you all next week, and have a very nice weekend. Please stay safe, eat well, feed well, rest well, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.